And Canny, we're still just placing the context or the relevance of Captain Makgotle's testimony. This is important, of course, as we try to get to the bottom of whether or not the ballistic reports that were compiled after Armand Swart was shot and killed were in fact deliberately riddled with errors.
Indeed, and that's correct. We're being taken back to that evidence of the Armand Swart murder, and then, of course, how they were able to establish two different case numbers that were linked. That is the Bromley case and the Vereeniging case. The Vereeniging case being the one of the actual murder scene. Then, of course, the Bromley case being that of the vehicle that was found with those 15 used cartridges that were directly linked to the firearm found in Vereeniging. So essentially what we're getting from Captain Makgotle's testimony is a number of issues that are being raised. Remember, at the time, witness A, B, and C had testified regarding the events surrounding this particular murder and how it allegedly implicated alleged cartel member Katiso Katie Melefe, and how they felt like there were multiple influences trying to derail, or I guess failed this particular case. And one of those aspects were the ballistics report, and where it was alleged that there were some errors, or rather the report was allegedly manipulated. And that is where the context of this particular testimony becomes important, because he's providing his version regarding what took place. I think an interesting point he makes is that he states at the outset that at no point did he tell witness B that these two scenes were directly linked to other high-profile murders. And the only thing we can draw from that is that he is likely referring to this being linked to the other murders of DJ Somebody, DJ Fintos, and more. He also goes into great detail about evidence relating to witness B, seemingly which paints her as someone in an unfavorable light in relation to her conduct, or rather the alleged conduct, let's put it that way, towards this particular captain in his analysis. He states that she arrived in a vehicle surrounded by armed men and rifles, and he alleges that he was kidnapped, or rather forcefully taken to a meeting where it seems that he realized there that the posture had changed, and that maybe this particular investigating officer was someone he allegedly could not trust. He's also gone into great detail to try and explain away the alleged erroneous errors in the report that was described as that of trying to manipulate the case and the outcome of that case, or rather water down the linkages that may be found there. He states that it was an erroneous error, and that he had, I guess, made the amendments but kept the same dates. But remember, that particular act becomes a part of that evidence where it was stated that the report was backdated in order to conceal the errors that were allegedly deliberately made in this particular case to derail the case. And it is only when it moved to KZN, or rather the KZN labs, where they were able to see some success in that particular matter. And I'm sure he'll be questioned further on some of these key elements which make his testimony relevant, because he has now not only roped in witness B and tried to paint her in an unfavorable light, but he tries to explain away the erroneous errors, and then of course he waters down the linkages that could have possibly come up from the Vereeniging and Bromley case. I expect that when the commission returns, it's going to be a short day, but they'll be able to get more answers regarding these disputed versions, because he's not necessarily an implicated person, but his evidence does answer to the kind of errors and discrepancies and acts of trying to derail, allegedly, the case of Armand Swart that were highlighted during phase 1 of witness A, B, and C's testimony.
Right, and of course, towards the tail end of, I suppose, the questions phase, Canny, of his testimony, we got a sense, at least from his perspective, about just how overstretched it seems ballistic officers are in the country.
Indeed. We've already heard from multiple different witnesses that work in these labs about how the demand far outweighs the kind of resources that they have at their disposal, and that a number of the delays can actually be attributed to the structures itself, that they're conducting the kind of work that needs quite a significant contingent and resources, and that they find themselves dealing with a severe backlog and having to go across different offices to attend to different cases because these cases rather don't have the kind of resources that meet the demand, which is why he highlighted in the beginning that because of the popularity that the Vereeniging and Bromley case numbers were getting, they had to speed up those cases, i.e. put it in the front of that long backlog in order to ensure that it was resolved quite quickly and that that report would be submitted as and when it is needed.
Canny Maphanga is live to us from the Bridgette Mabandla Justice College. Thanks for helping us connect those dots, Canny. We'll certainly keep watching that story as it continues to unfold.